Hey everyone, welcome back. This is episode 4 of The Acolyte, and I've got to ask, is this the most boring episode so far? Let's dive in and find out. Now, before we get going, I want to make something clear. I'm trying to be as fair as possible with these reviews. There are things I genuinely enjoy about the show, the set designs are usually on point, and despite some complaints about Jung-jae's accent being hard to understand, I personally think his performance has been rock solid, and I like Pip. Pip is awesome.
Isn't he amazing?
Now, you may be wondering why I'm bothering to continue if I'm not enjoying it that much. Well, what can I say? As a geek, I feel the urge to stick with the series, especially since it's part of a larger franchise. I wouldn't want to miss out on something further down the line, right? So, let's get into another cracking episode of The Acolyte. Why do I do this to myself?
Well, that's because you're an idiot.
This episode kicks off on the planet Kofar with a scene that quite frankly looks like it's straight out of a low-budget sitcom. The usual decent sets fall flat here, looking plastic and unrealistic, which doesn't exactly set the tone for an epic adventure. The Jedi Wookiee cut up some meat and there's a close-up of a symbol that is the same on May's head. Next, we see a bearded Jedi teaching kids how to fight with sticks, and then we're smacked in the face with a clunky and sudden romantic interlude between Osha and Lon. That just doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense at all!
Seriously, these two have barely shown any screen time together, and now we're supposed to believe there's something between them? Unless it somehow plays out into a bigger plot point later, it feels like they're just forcing a message. Ooh, I wonder what that message could be.
This is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a
I mean, you must be curious after all this time.
May and Kimar land on Kofar. I'm sure there's a clunky plot line for Kimar to be there, but if I was on a jungle planet and needed advice and a guide, I'd hardly take the drunk stoner who dodgedly acquired someone's shop.
Is it heavy stuff, man? Will it blow me away?
Anyway, back to Croissant. And they discuss that May must have been trained by a Jedi, and I suppose we're supposed to be wondering who this is. Look, as it takes place 100 years before A New Hope, I can only think it's Yoda. In fact, the only character I can think of that anybody could possibly be in this show is possibly Yoda. Back to May and Kimar. Now, I'm not sure if Sternberg's terrible acting is helping, but Manny Jacinto is becoming someone I'm actually enjoying to watch. Yet she has the skills to make his parts entertaining, and look at this scene. It goes from being painful to actually watchable.
Can't believe my sister's Jedi scum. What was she like when you spoke to her?
She seemed in over her head.
Let's be frank here. Amanda Sternberg can't act.
And?
You can't sing.
I'm going viral on Twitter again. Open up the news.
You can't dance.
When she's playing May and Osha, she makes no effort to differentiate between the two characters. May and Osha are twins, sure, but one's supposed to be good, the other's supposed to be evil. Yet they're both portrayed with the same flat, boring tone. I mean, it's actually quite hard to tell them apart unless you're paying close attention to their names and the outfits.
Can't believe my sister's Jedi scum.
Someone must find May before she does any more harm.
Compare that to Jung-jae, who, despite English being his second language and only having 3 months to learn English, he actually delivers his lines with much more depth and nuance.
Let's move. It'll be dark soon.
So, Lee asks Osha to join him on his mission, spinning some flimsy excuse about needing to connect with May, but like so much of this show, it's just another plot device to keep her from wandering off, despite the fact that she said that she was leaving about 3 minutes ago.
I came to say goodbye.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out!
They head off on their mission, and what follows is a series of chats and exchanges that honestly don't really add up to much to the story. It feels like filler. I mean, it's like they didn't have enough material to stretch across 8 episodes, so they just padded the runtimes with scenes that should have actually just been cut. And the humour. Oh man, this feels so forced, it falls flat more often than not. Case in point is this one, the "we need a tracker just to track our tracker" line.
I swear we need a tracker just to track our tracker.
Oh, is that supposed to be funny?
There's a whole confusing plotline with May and Kimir where they go on about not using a weapon to kill a Jedi. Then out of nowhere, May decides that she's not going to continue with the mission and plans to hand herself into the Jedi because she's discovered that her sister's alive. But did she really need to go through the whole trouble of setting a trap and hanging Kimir upside down when she could have just told him? And also, she just left him there just to be eaten by wolves or a bear or whatever creatures are on this planet. Then, as if by chance, May stumbles upon the Wookiee Jedi's hut and finds him dead. But instead of following through on her plan to surrender, she decides to stay hidden and incriminates herself for a crime she didn't even commit.
Well, that was a stupid idea.
The other Jedis gather around the Wookiee's hut, demanding that May comes out, but instead a mysterious person shows up with a dodgy mask, whips out a red Sith lightsaber, and uses his powers to shove them all backwards.
Run! Okay, that was good. That was good.
Now, I'm guessing the reveal here was the red lightsaber. That was supposed to be a big moment, but come on, we already know this guy's a villain, so is it really that shocking? No. But that's what this show does. It builds up to these incredibly underwhelming reveals and endings. Like last week's big twist with May being live is a case in point. So let's go back to the question. This is the most boring episode so far. Yes, it is. I mean, it's not the worst. Episode 3 still holds that title.
Power 1, the power of 2, the power of many.
Power my ass.
But this one definitely drags. As usual, the dialogue is clunky, the scenes don't advance the plot or build the world in any meaningful way, and let's be real, nothing really happens much until the very last scene. It's just a lot of talking and walking with very little payoff.
Pretty boring, actually.
So, what were the high points? Well, Kimir and Lee were solid, and the last few seconds were decent when he pushes him away with his Jedi powers. And Pip was good. I like Pip.
Pip?
But hey, maybe there's hope for something exciting around the corner. Stay tuned! Let's find out where this journey takes us. Did you enjoy anything in this episode? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.